we all know what flows downstream, right? And a whole heaping helping of that flowed downstream in the Ontario Hockey League last week. Fans left very confused when all of a sudden they were hearing in arenas that their favorite players had been handed a 10-minute misconduct for a mouthguard violation. You could be forgiven if you were in the arena looking at the person sitting next to you and asking the question, what the heck is a mouthguard violation? Look, the rules are very clear in the Ontario Hockey League this year. Any player who is either not wearing a mouthguard at all or wearing their mouthguard improperly shall be assessed a 10-minute misconduct. The thing is, we went through a full quarter of the season without any of these penalties being called. And then last week, 22 mouthguard misconducts handed out in the Ontario Hockey League last week. In some games, as many as 3 in the same game. So the question is, why? Why now? Who got to who with a complaint about what that led to the memo being sent to teams? And good for the league for doing that. Remember, this goes above the officials in the arena and right into the league offices who sent the memo to the teams, and that memo made it clear that this mouthguard violation penalty was about to be enforced and enforced strictly. Okay, but when you're in the arena and all of a sudden a referee comes over to the timekeeper's bench and tells the public address announcer that player X has been handed a 10-minute misconduct for a mouthguard violation, and then an announcer goes over the speakers and tells it to you sitting there in the arena, and you're wondering, what the heck just happened? And by the way, why did that referee call that against the player that I like so much and put my team in a position of having to deal with a 10-minute misconduct? It doesn't exactly trickle down as far as the league would have liked. Maybe there needs to be more information about this. Maybe the league could share the information with the media so we can share it with you so you know what's going on when you get to the rink. But let's look at this even more closely. Again, the big question, why now? If this is a new rule on the books, and the rule is very clear in the OHL's rule book, that a player not wearing their mouthguard or wearing it improperly gets a 10-minute misconduct. Okay, but why are we starting to enforce this a quarter of the way through the season? I'll tell you one thing that comes to mind, and I don't think you should underestimate the impact of this, and that is liability. If a player were to be hurt, and remember, mouthguards are there to protect your teeth and your mouth, but also part of concussion protocol protecting against head injuries as well. Well, if a player isn't wearing that mouthguard properly, even though the rule's on the books, and then the player gets injured, well, the league can be held liable for not ensuring that the player was wearing that small piece of equipment properly. Here's one of the other things about this, though, and I'm a big believer in action consequence for the most part. The players have to know that you have to have your mouthguard in properly, or you get a 10-minute misconduct. But why is this being left on the backs of the officials on the ice? What if you were just to have little check marks made throughout the course of a game, and then you sent a memo back to the team, or a bill in this case, and said, you had this many mouthguard violations. Each mouthguard violation costs you $250 or $500 or whatever, and then the team gets penalized financially. Do you think the team then might take a greater interest in ensuring that their players go onto the ice with the proper equipment? The other thing about it is this. Have you ever had a bad habit? Like, I will cop right now to the fact that I still, even at my age, bite my nails. If I was told tomorrow that biting my nails resulted in a 10-minute misconduct, could I stop that immediately? And I think about this in the context of a player who may have gotten into the habit of chewing on their mouthguard, even if they're just in the face-off circle. If that's a habit, and all of a sudden you're saying, stop it, and stop it right now, or you're getting a 10-minute misconduct, that's a lot to ask of somebody who's gotten used to it over their junior career and the first quarter of this season. No grace period here, no warnings, no nothing. We're just going to leave it all on the officials on the ice and then confusing the fans in the arena. Look, you got your rule, but when you watch your favorite NHL player chew on their mouthguard, or you see it on video games with mouthguards dangling as players dangle on the ice, you're asking an awful lot of people in a short amount of time. I can't wait for this rule to stop being enforced quite as strictly as it is, because 22 mouthguard violations in a week is about 21 too many. I'm Farwell. It's Friday. We'll see you at the rink.